Hello everyone, I'm Wardhani and I'm here to present my presentation for my speaking class, and this is my presentation on misinformation on the internet. Now before we begin, I just want to clarify that I do think misinformation has existed way before the internet. It's just that the internet just made it easier to spread it. I hope that's the point. That's the point I want to make. So let's begin. So the internet is still fairly new. It's only been around for like 30 years, and its predecessor, the RPNet, has only been around for like 50. So there's quite a chance that your parents, or maybe even yourself, are a little, older than the internet itself, which I think is very fascinating because even though it's still new, it's been ingrained into our lives so much so that we practically can't live without it. I mean, when was the last time if you heard like without the internet, right? You have this homework. And my second point is, the older you are, the easier it is for you to get bamboozled, for you to get tricked. Since I do feel like age plays a big factor on how it. I'm just gonna let me see the pictures. I thought I was sorry getting off topic, but I do think age is a factor, and because when you grow up with the internet, like Gen Z and the millennials, even though they live far off, we've grown up with this norm of having the internet around us. So we develop this sense of, oh, we know which one is fake and which one is not, and which one is you have to avoid. But with the older generations, for example, boomers, they're not quite used to it yet. So they would just take it with a grain of salt, or they just believe it entirely. They believe all this central life without any research because everyone not used to it, and bless their hearts, they have a good heart. But when I think it really just goes to show you just how much and how just how much it has been ingrained in our lives, even though it's been on here for so little time. Now there's a couple of things I want to just why it's so easy to spread lies on the internet, misinformation. And one of those first points I want to make is lying is easy. But lying on the internet is very easy. There are practically no consequences. And even if you're okay, so basically you can just go on to anonymous thread, post something about something, let's say vaccines or microchips that the government are trying to implement on you. And that would be more prerogative. That would be considered an opinion. But then people would believe it. And then they're just trying to spread this information nationwide and just make, just believe the most horrendous things out of one post out of the internet, especially if those posts use big words and scientific words to make them more believable. It just comes out as sketchy to me. And the second is why it's so popular to spread misinformation is people would do anything to get attention. They would absolutely, and lying is of course in human nature. People lie as if it's their second nature, and when people don't get attention, they would often lie to get it. So it's not really that hard if you think about it. I could go onto a social media platform, I could go to Facebook, for example, and sell this herbal medicine that could cure your cancer, cure your baldness. And I guarantee you, some people would believe me. That is totally not because I've tried before and actually trick a couple people. That's beside the point. And the second most problem is why it's so easy. It's because people rarely fact check their information on the web. They would either just go to Google and just see the first thing that came up, just the headline. The headline alone is enough, and then that's where they make their opinion based on, which I think is kind of ignorant. Because when people treat news like they heard gossip, right? Like they see it, they log out with the second thought, and then they spread it like wildfire. They tell their friends, they tell their families, and then suddenly it became this whole other thing. It became not just a lie, fun lie at that. Sorry, a fun lie at that, but just something whole entire. How do you avoid misinformation? We talk about why it's so popular, how it's so popular, but how do you avoid it? Please, for the love of God, check your sources, check the media, check anything. Just because there's a lot of fake news articles out there that that's used for jokes, but people start to take them seriously. The Onion, for example, it's a web source, it's a website that is solely for lies. It's used for lies and just pranks. It's for good fun, right? People start believing in some of them. It goes so far as to make the news in the West too, even though it's a lie. People never fact check on them, and that's the most, I think, annoying thing about all this. You could avoid any sort of trouble just so long as you fact check your sources. Make sure those sources are valid. Check videos or something. I don't know. Use your critical thinking. That's my point. And my second point is don't believe everything you see. Don't be sheep. Duh. I think that's pretty much self-explanatory. You know, when I say don't believe in everything you see, I'm not saying that you should become, conspiracy theorists and start to believe like the earth is flat or something, but use your critical thinking. Again, this is all about critical thinking. If you don't think something, just look more into it. Don't just see something you want to believe and then just go with it for the rest of your existence. People need to grow and wait till more information is released. This is my another thing. When people see rumors, like for example, the coronavirus vaccine, there were rumors going on that it's microchips or it's causing cancer, it's causing this diseases, other diseases, which is just anti-vaxxers, And I think all of this can be avoided if you're just going to, because even when more information is, you have to base your conclusion off of those, right? So you should wait. Don't just follow a bandwagon of hate and believe everyone is thinking. Just wait a couple of minutes. Wait till everything's calmed down and just look into it and make sure those facts are valid. Again, in conclusion, the internet is a very nice place where people can learn all sorts of things. Just be careful and know when to believe in some things, because again, there are websites, there are places where people would lie as a joke, and sometimes I'll find it funny. I'll admit it. Sometimes I go to the website. Sometimes I'll spread lies, some funny little jokes, and sometimes I get the other hand. But just be sure you know what's real and what's not. Thank you. That's all I could say. I'm sorry if there really isn't anything I didn't add. I'm sorry if I speak something wrong or I said something wrong, or maybe maybe some of you might even find my presentation offensive because it's pictures, but I quite like it. I just want to get about that for a minute. So yeah, thank you for hearing me ramble on. I guess I'll just end the meeting now. Thank you.